Good morning, Dwayne.
Good morning, Tom. How about yourself?
Doing okay, I think.
Good,
Oh,
good.
are you wearing a neck?
I am.
Tom, Dwayne,
Yes.
uh, the system just called into our site, and I had to manually accept it, just like I did for the first class. It's not manually automatically enabling it to connect.
All right.
Okay.
Will do.
Uh, yeah, that would be something for Joe to handle.
Yeah,
Keysville, did
and
you connect?
Yes, sir.
Wonderful. And then South Boston. Nina, are you there?
Huh?
Are you there?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Nina, I'm going to be sending you an email here in a little bit, too. We got to work out something about taking the tests because they're being cranky on the times that you can do the testing at the proctoring center. So look for that a little bit later today. But anyway, looks like everything's happy and running.
hey, Tom, did you have a connection issue yesterday with the afternoon class?
No, there was yeah, you're Patrick Henry. It took it like a minute before y'all came in, but then y'all came in, y'all connected.
Okay. Okay.
So that may be the case. Your little message pops up, and maybe it'll go ahead and connect after a minute anyway.
Well, it sounded like it actually rung about 5 times, and I was afraid that it wasn't going to do it. But
Oh, okay.
I'll watch it this afternoon and let it do it. So.
Yep. Which I'm trying to think of what time I texted you.
It was about
But, I mean,
1:29 or something.
Yeah, that's
I was
what I
at a
just
funeral.
saw.
I couldn't respond. So.
Okay. Now, when you look at Dwayne, you'll see he's wearing a necktie, so we got to give him a hard time about that. So, anyway.
Are you sure it's Dwayne?
Well, theoretically, that is a good point.
Don't have a coronary on there, John. It doesn't
Dwayne, we
happen
can
very
barely
often.
hear you.
I don't know what the deal is with this mic, but I can't talk when I finish class. Nina has the same complaint that she can't hear me, and it feels like I've got my mouth on this microphone. But yeah, every once in a while when the situation calls for it, so it called for it.
Couldn't hear you.
I said it. The situation called for it this morning.
But when you looked away to say that, Dwayne, we lost the audio.
Okay, I've got to get Joe to fix this audio because I can't continue to yell. I don't know what the deal is. Okay, I hope everybody had a good weekend. And ready to start. Ready to start the week yesterday. As you know, we have an exam, our first exam in here on Thursday. I do have that made up. It is a variation of questions from fill in the blank, multiple choice, and short answer. So hopefully you've been keeping up with the lectures and taking a look at your textbooks and studying the PowerPoints and the vocabulary list that I put on Blackboard, and I think you'll be okay. So we need to finish this last chapter today, and then I can field questions about the exams on Thursday. if you would so desire. Any questions you guys may have? All right. Chapter 6 talks about companion animals. And we started this last week, Thursday. Now think about all we covered was cats. We started in on cats, and we said they've been around. They were domesticated over 9,500 years ago, and they were mainly used originally for rodent control, or that was the reason they were domesticated. And there's quite a few cats in the United States, about 85 million. Now, how many of y'all have cats? Barn cats or house cats? Okay, we got just the two of you guys there, Patrick Henry. Anybody else? All right. What about you guys at Keysville? Y'all have any cats?
I do.
Yes, we do.
Okay. So 3 of the 4 of you have cats. What about Nina there at South Boston? You have cats?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Southside, do y'all have cats?
I have 12 of them.
Yeah, you have a few cats.
And I have 6, I think, or 8.
I have one normal cat and one mean one.
All
Well,
right.
my wife does.
What about y'all? Y'all have cats? Okay. Now, now, how many of these y'all, your cats are house cats, or are they just barn cats?
Ours stay in the barn. 2 of ours stay in the barn. We don't have any in the house.
All right, we got one. Our owners here, they have the outside barn cats. What about your 12, Keith?
6 of them are working cats, and the other 6 are kind of house cats, outside cats, but they're mainly companion cats. But the other ones are working cats.
Okay. We have 2 cats. One of them is a good working cat, Keith puts it. The other one, I call it the Obama cat. It just lays around and expects to be fed and taken care of. But, that aside, my wife was asking me what type of cat it was, and that's the answer I gave. But, politics aside.
I like that, Dwayne.
Most of, I guess for us, since we're all in ag, most of them are barn cats, right? We expect them to be out there helping control rodents and snakes and so forth. So, what percent of the population in the United States do you think owns cats? Pretty good percentage of this class. There were 2 people, Patrick Henry, and then all the other places everybody has cats. So that'd be about 75%. Robert thinks there's about 75% own cats. Y'all agree or disagree? Can y'all talk? Yes, you agree? No, you don't agree, or do you have another number you want to throw out? It's not going to affect your grade if you get the wrong answer.
I think it's around 40%.
Okay, that is really close. Uh, about 34% of the households in the United States have cats. I figured it'd be more than that too. You know, I think cats are probably more suited for apartments and stuff like that than dogs. So, but cats they're a different animal, as y'all know. But anyway, as we said the other day, or Thursday, I think we went over a little bit about their reproduction. They are seasonally polyesters. They come in heat during certain times of the year, and they have more than one heat cycle or one ester cycle. And they are induced or reflex ovulators. They will not ovulate unless they'll ovulate only after they're mated. If they're not mated, then they won't release the egg. They've been mated. Their gestation length is about 60 days. Kittens and pups, they're both born in an immature state with limited capacity to see and move. Interesting thing about cats, you know, we know some cats are long haired, some are short, some are medium. That is genetically, that is controlled by a single gene that controls it. A lot of, I just thought that was kind of interesting. We had mentioned that cats are true carnivores. They can live on a meat-only diet. And we talked about a third of the cats are overweight or obesity in cats and dogs can lead to the same problems we see in diabetes, arthritis, and complicated health issues. So it's important for us to keep our cats and dogs at a healthy weight. Moving on to dogs. Now, how many of you guys have dogs? Okay. You have a dog, Robert? All right, so our students here have dogs. What about y'all at Patrick Henry?
I have 13.
Okay, you have a whole pack. How many the rest of y'all have dogs?
I do.
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right. So most of y'all have dogs there. Are they indoor or outdoor?
Outdoor. Both.
Both.
All mine are outside. I've got people who are not wash them.
Okay. Are they pets or are they working dogs?
Both.
Mine are pets. I treat mine like little babies. I like my kids.
Okay. The one that has working dogs, what do you use for work? What type of work does it do?
He works cattle.
Okay. Do you have a border collie?
He's a blue heeler.
Okay. What about you guys at Keysville? Y'all have dogs?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All of you have dogs? Just you two guys?
Yes.
All right. What about the lady in the back? You have a dog?
You said yeah.
Okay. Now y'all's dogs, indoors or outdoors? Working
Inside.
dogs?
They're supposed to be outside, but they're my mama's children, so they stay inside most of the time.
They're probably more loved than you are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mine are supposed to be rabbit beagles, but they end up running deer every now and then.
All right. And the lady in the back, is your dog, is it an indoor or outdoor dog? A working dog or a pet?
They're outdoor and
Okay.
mainly pet.
Okay. What about you, Nina, in South Boston? You have a dog?
Yeah,
Indoor, outdoor? Pet, working
Both.
dog? Indoor and outdoor? Alright, is it a pet? Is it a working dog?
The pet.
Okay. And what about you guys at South Boston? I mean, not South Boston, South Side. Thank you. Y'all have dogs?
My dog of 15 years died about 5 years ago, so we're now truly empty nesters since the kids have gone.
Okay, well, you still have your cats.
They take care of us.
Okay.
When it gets cold at night, we just throw another cat on.
So if it's a 12 cat night, you know it's a cold night. Y'all remember the rock group 3 Dog Night?
They're
It would
too
be
young,
classic
Dwayne.
rock to you guys now.
I listened to them on the way to class this morning.
All right, they got their name from the same way. Out the Aborigines in Australia, when it gets cold, they throw another dingo in their bed, and so they talk about the temperature on how many dogs it took for them to stay warm that night. So that's where 3 Dog Night got their name. Came up in But anyway, dogs, there's about 73 million of them in the United States. What percent of households have dogs?
39%.
Oh, somebody read the book. Thank you very much.
Guessed.
39% have dogs. Pretty popular pet, dogs and cats. They believe that dogs crossed the Bering Strait with humans about 14,000 years ago. And we know they were domesticated from gray wolves by the hunter-gatherers of East Asia. Now, some of y'all have working dogs, and you said they work cattle. What other types of working dogs are there?
Hunting.
Hunting? Guard dogs, Joseph said, for guarding livestock. What about guarding people or property? Okay. What other types of working dogs are there?
Service dogs.
Seeing eye dogs.
Okay, service dogs. Seeing eye dogs or dogs of service, physically people that have physical challenges. And now they have these, what do they call them, emotional support animals? To give people emotional support. There's a big controversy with that on airlines, whether they're considered service dogs or not. What other type of working dogs are there? Okay, police dogs, military dogs. Right. The sniffing dogs for drugs, weapons,
Search and rescue.
people. What was that?
Search and rescue.
Search and rescue.
They have cadaver dogs.
The cadaver dogs. What other types? Any other type of working dogs you can think of? How about racing? Y'all ever been to the dog races? I hadn't either, but they do race them, greyhounds. And they also have the sled dogs that they race, like the Iditarod sled dog race in Alaska. And unfortunately, this is illegal in the United States, but other countries it's still legal for fighting dogs. Some people fight dogs in sport, and so they're considered a working dog. It is illegal in the United States. We can, due to DNA, we've mapped out the DNA in dogs as well. We can take a DNA sample from our dogs and figure out the parentage through DNA analysis. So if you have a mixed up dog, you can get it DNA tested and tell you what different breed you're in there. Or if you have a purebred dog, you can verify the ancestry through the DNA. Like, some with breeding horses, a lot of horse registries require DNA testing to prove that the sire, who you say the sire is, actually is. So all the breeding animals have to be tested for horse association now. And they do the same thing in livestock. Herds, they can figure out the parentage through DNA. But they can also figure out the breeds. So if you want to pay money to figure out if any of you guys have mixed up dogs, pay a fee and get a DNA tested to find out what breeds. What's that? Yes, you told us that you had that. Okay. All right. How many breeds of dogs do you think there are?
Over 100.
Yes. Maybe. The book says there's about 350 to 400 breeds. The American Kennel Club recognizes about 150. And they group them as sporting dogs or working dogs, terriers, toys, non-sporting, herding, miscellaneous breeds. If you like watching dog shows. Dog reproduction.
Can you talk into the mic? I can't hear you.
Yes, sorry. With reproduction on dogs, their gestation length is 52 to 58 days. And as I said earlier when we were talking about cats, the pups are born in an immature state where they don't have the ability to see or move around very well. Dogs are monoestrous. They have one heat cycle. If they'll have a heat cycle, and if they don't get bred, they won't come into heat for about 6 months. So that's considered monoestrous. They have one heat cycle at a time. Then they go into a period of anestrus or reproductive quiescence for about 6 months. So the dog has, we know that animals are cloned now. Cloning's getting to be pretty popular. Has dogs been cloned yet? Yeah, they have been. First dog was cloned back in 2005 in Korea. Y'all do you think it's expensive to get your little clone? Yeah, it'd be cheaper to buy another clone. What do dogs eat? Meat. They're largely carnivores. Mainly meat. We can feed them grains and plant products, but they can get by on meat. They require a lot of protein. They require energy, either in forms of carbohydrates and also in the form of fat. And like all other species of animals, they do require proper balance of minerals and vitamins and water. Do you think that there is an obesity problem in dogs like there is in cats? Yeah, there is. About 20 to 40% of all dogs are obese. And again, we see the same type of issues show up with dog obesity in dogs: cardiovascular disease, diabetes, arthritis, lifespan. So they can get heavy on us if we feed them too much and just don't give them enough exercise. Now, typically, when we think of companion animals, we mainly think of dogs and cats, right? At least I do. What other companion animals can y'all think of that people have as pets? Birds. All right. There's about 11, a little bit over 11 million pet birds in the United States. Parrots are the bugger, Budgerigaris. I don't know how you say that one. Budgerigaris. It's a species of parrot, and that's the most common species. The most common species of parrot that's kept as a pet. The parrots are pretty popular because they have the ability to learn words and parrot what you say. Copy what you say. Parakeets, they're a small or medium-sized parrot with long tails. I don't think they can speak very well or learn words very well. And then, there's all sorts of other birds like cockatiels and cockatoos, lovebirds. Like, I know in Mexico, everybody had a bird. They had parrots or lovebirds. They were pretty popular. What other types of pets do people keep?
Hamsters.
Okay, rodents. That would include the hamster. What other types of rodents are pets other than hamsters?
Parrots, mice. Some people have a
Okay, hold on. What did y'all say? Parrots? That's going to be a different class, I think. Rodents are going to be your hamsters, mice, rats, pet rats people have, believe it or not. What else do they have? What else would fall into that category?
Chinchillas.
Chinchillas.
Would gerbils fall in it?
Yes, gerbils will fall under it.
Guinea pig.
What's that?
Guinea pig.
Guinea pigs. There's about 2 million pet rodents in the United States. Rats and mice are number 1, and hamsters are number 3. No, I'm sorry. Rats and mice, and then hamsters. They're mainly used in research, or rats and mice are mainly used in research animals. They do use hamsters as a distant third, but for pets, you mainly see the gerbils, the hamsters, the guinea pigs, and chinchillas. Mexico, boy, those people like their pet rats for some reason. I don't know. I just didn't get having a rat for a pet. Just like I don't get having a snake for a pet. But either way it goes, I know a lot of kids, their first pets are hamsters or gerbils. And in some countries, especially South America, guinea pigs are used for food, and they will eat. They'll raise them. We don't do that very. It's not very popular in the United States, but the guinea pigs that they use for food are a lot bigger than the guinea pigs you buy in Texas. Yeah, they'll get up to a couple pounds. They're pretty good size. And, I've read articles, we're talking about having to feed the population in 2050. This one guy theorizes that guinea pigs will be a major source of food because everybody can just raise them in their back porch or spare bedroom, put their cages in there, raise their guinea pigs, and have fresh meat whenever they like to have some meat. And he's really not that far off. I think he probably has a point. With this farm to table movement and backyard gardening and stuff, from what I understand, some of these municipalities are lessening up their restrictions about having chickens. You can have a few laying hens in really subdivision town limits. Wonder how that works with the pet pigs. What about pet pigs? We've seen, those pot-belly pigs, and then these little miniature pigs. They look like a regular pig, but they're toys. They're small. Have y'all seen those? Yeah, they're expensive. You guys at Patrick Henry seen those little miniature pigs that people are having for pets?
Yeah, some people think they're buying miniature pigs, but it's not. They turned out to be one of the big pot-bellied pigs.
They get up to 90 pounds, I think.
Well, no, I'm not talking about pot bellies. These look like just regular pigs, but they're small. Very small.
They're micro minis.
Yeah, thank you. I didn't know the name of them. I've seen them. My wife wants one, and I'm doing my best to avoid that like the plague, because I don't think we need a pet pig.
They need two.
Well, pigs are smart, but I don't want one for a pet. I told her we can have pigs, but they'll go in their freezer in the fall. That didn't go over too well. So somebody mentioned earlier about ferrets being a companion animal. Do any of y'all have any ferrets?
I do.
Did you say parrot or ferret?
Ferret.
Ferret. Ferrets.
Amanda does.
All right. Anybody else have a ferret or two? They are. Go ahead.
I have a question. It might be a dumb question, but are rabbits considered rodents?
I don't think so. We may consider them rodents, but I don't think they're rodents. I don't know how they're classified. I may be mistaken on that, but I don't think they're considered rodents.
Rabbits and hares are lagomorphs, not rodents.
What are they called?
Lagomorphs.
Okay. They're not considered rodents. They're considered labomorphs.
Yeah. Their teeth are
Okay.
different than rodents. That's why they're different.
All right. Thank you. I figured you would know. I was trying to think of your name to call on you to answer that question for me. What we're talking about ferrets. We'll get to rabbits here in a minute. What were they used for originally? To hunt. Mainly for rabbits. Yeah, put them down the burrows and get the rabbit and bring it back out. They're domesticated from the European polecat. So
They were also used to get rid
a
of
type of
snakes.
skunk. Well, through breeding and stuff, it's turned into the ferrets. But those were the original ancestors.
They won't say that loud enough in here.
No, they're the ones I've seen. They're very long-bodied, short-legged, and kind of grayish color. They have an odor to them, but I don't think they have a stink sack to them. But they are they do smell pretty musky. I think they stink. That's my opinion. I was trying to be polite and say they have a smell to them, but I don't like that smell. But some people, it doesn't bother. There's about 1 million of them for pets. You're not alone having a ferret. There's several of them there. And their gestation is about 40 to 44 days. They usually have litter and kids. It doesn't talk about rabbits as companion animals, but people do use rabbits for companions, along with can't think of her name, Will's girlfriend there in Southside. I don't think their rabbits they're not companion animals. They raise them for their wool and for meat, show. Do y'all sell them as companion animals there too?
Every now and then.
Yeah, I don't know what it is around Easter. You see everybody advertising pet rabbits for sale.
Yeah, we try not to sell at Easter because people just get them and keep them for 2 weeks.
Yeah, or their dog gets them.
Yeah.
Or they get out. The other companion animals that the book talks about are monkeys and reptiles and amphibians. There's about 15,000 monkeys that are kept as pets. It depends on the state you live in. Several states it's illegal to own monkeys as a pet. Some of them you may have to have a license. I don't know what Virginia's laws are, but some people have those as pets. Did y'all ever see the movie Clint Eastwood? Yeah, with Clyde. Every Which Way But Loose and Every Which Way You Can. Clint Eastwood had a orangutan one as his companion. And then lizards and snakes and turtles and frogs are other popular companion animals. How many of y'all ever had a pet turtle when you were kids? Yeah, I think about most of us did. You know, we'd be out playing outside and find a box turtle and put it in the box, feed it lettuce and carrots for a little bit until we got tired of it and back loose.
I had a turtle until they came out with salmonella poison. My parents took it away.
Okay. The thing with reptiles, they are, you know, salmonella and reptiles kind of go hand in hand. They are a carrier for salmonella. And then, you know, I knew people had all sorts of different animals, like those Gila monsters, weird amphibians like that for pets. But that's all right. Whatever floats your boat for companion animals. Why are companion animals important? Why do people have animals as companions?
They don't talk back.
That's right. They don't talk back. And they sure the heck can keep a good secret, right? You tell them whatever, I mean, they're not going to repeat it. Take a look at that dog for Bush's beans. He's never repeated that recipe. So, companion animals, you know, science has proven that, you know, petting dogs or having a companion animal will improve your quality of life and extend your life because you have something's depending on you, especially if you're elderly. Petting dogs, cats, you know, it makes you feel good. Everybody likes to pet their dog or cat. The endorphins in your body are released, and it just relaxes you and makes you feel better. If you live in the city and you have to go out and walk your dog, it makes you get outside and enjoy nature. So there's a lot of advantages to having companion animals, and it's a big industry, a real big industry, with formulating cat food and dog food and all the toys. You know, I think what I have noticed in my lifetime, and it might have just been because, I don't know, I grew up in a household. We had dogs, we had cats, we had horses, we had cattle, and you know, a dog was a dog. And it seems now, and a couple of y'all have made reference to this, that dogs are, some people treat their dogs as their kids. And I was at the vet. Now my wife is that way. I'm not going to down anybody. She loves her dog. She would part with me before she parted with her little French bulldog. I think she loves that dog more than life itself. But I had to take her French bulldog to the vet when we were down in North Carolina. And the vet assistant or technician, whatever that little girl was, she took us back to the room and took the weight and temperature of the dog and sitting there talking to it like it was a human. And she said, "It's okay. Daddy's right here with you." And I guess she got to know me a little bit, but that kind of flew all over me. And I asked the lady, I said, "Ma'am, do I look like a dog?" And she said, "No." And I said, "Then how can I be that dog's daddy if I'm not a dog?" And her response was, "Oh, you're one of those." And my response was, "Yes, I am one of those, and I'm pretty doggone proud of it." She gave me the cold shoulder the rest of the treatment. He was better than me, she thought. But I'm one of those. And my wife doesn't understand me. I think I better be quiet before I get myself in trouble. But Anyway, I'm one of those. But I do have a dog. I do like dogs, and they have their place. And whether it's a pet or working animal, if they don't do their job, then I'm going to replace that dog with one that will. It's that simple. And and although I love my dog, if the vet bill's worth more than what my dog is worth, I will give you the dog and tell them to put it down. It's a dog, you know. My wife is completely opposite. So it has educated me on how, different attitudes about pain. So it's companion animals though, it is a big business. My wife, she will buy dog toys and all sorts of stuff. I've never bought a dog toy my entire life.
I bought home every year for my birthday and everything.
Yeah. Some people do that. And that's fine. I'm not being judgmental or critical of it. Whatever makes you happy, that's fine. But it is a big business. It's a large industry. This one guy, when I was in grad school, he was a professor, Dr. Clemens was his name. Real nice guy. And he was there in the animal science department. And his specialty was dog nutrition. And he was trying to come up with dog foods that would meet the dog's requirements, that tasted well, that they would eat, and would reduce gas, because we know dogs can be a bit flatulent. So that was his big deal, is finding a good dog food, or trying to develop a good dog food that did not produce flatulence. So there are careers in that. So that finishes up on chapter 6, and this section of the book, the world agriculture and animal agriculture, and looking at it from a real broad area, and looking at some companion animals and horses. The next, we'll have the exam over this on Thursday. Now the next section, guys, we're going to start getting into the meat and bones of animal science. We're going to talk about the different industries, the lot with cattle and dairy, swine, poultry. We'll talk about these industries, and then we're going to start talking about production. And we're going to start looking at physiology, nutrition, reproduction, genetics. So we're going to start cranking up the bar and cranking it up to this percent. Do you guys have any questions for me? Yeah, we'll talk about this in the next section. I don't know. I couldn't answer. I don't know much about llamas in the past.
We couldn't hear the question at all, Dwayne. We don't know what you responded to.
I keep forgetting the student mic does not work. Robert was asking me if llamas and alpacas are kind of sensitive in their digestive system. And I told him I don't know. Any of y'all have experience with llamas or alpacas? I don't think anybody can help you. They're not. All right. Y'all have any questions regarding what's going to be on the exam?
How many questions will we have?
I don't know how many. I can't remember from the top of my head, Keith, how many questions. I can't remember how many questions is on the exam. The exam is worth 50 points. Some questions are worth 1 point. Some of the discussion questions are worth 2 to 3 points. And each question is labeled, how many, or, on the discussion questions, it's labeled. So, like, I may ask you for 3 things, and then I'll tell you it's a 3-point question. And if you only have 2 things, then you'll just get 2 points. So, if I'm asking for 3 things, make sure you give me 3 things, or 2 things.
Could you give us an example of what a discussion question might be?
Gosh, she would have to ask me something like that.
Good at that.
But that's a good example. It's a good question. It's fair. I may ask you, and I don't know if this is a question or not, okay? So don't hold me to this, because I don't have the exam in front of me, and I don't remember the questions I put on the exam. But I might ask you, what is the importance of animal agriculture? Or I might ask you, why is animal agriculture so important in the developing nations or developing countries? There's 3 reasons why animal agriculture is important in developing nations. I might ask you to name the most popular horse breeds that we went over there on the PowerPoint. I might ask you uses of dogs, or get you to list 3 or 4 uses of dogs or horses. Something like that. Try to get you to think, see how much you paid attention in class and studied your notes. Does that help you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. If there's not any other questions, then we will proceed to Chapter 7. Chapter 7 will not be on the exam. Okay? The content on your exam will cover up to Chapter 6. Through Chapter 6. There will be questions regarding dogs and cats and companion animals. But there will not be questions regarding Chapter 7, which is on cattle. Now, in your book, and I do not have, I had a disc, used to have a disc that had the photos of the book. I could put it on the computer screen for you.
We can't hear you, Dwayne.
I know. I used to have a computer disc that came with the book that had the photos of the book or the photos that are in the book. Since I don't have that, there's a photo I want to show you guys in this chapter. I'll see if I can put it on the screen and for you guys to see. If I can figure out how to do that. But hold on 1 second for me. Okay. Y'all see that picture? Can y'all see that picture? Everybody see it? I know you cannot see that clearly. You probably are unable to read that. That is an important picture. Okay? And the reason it's important is because that tells you all of the parts of a cow or a steer. And we will refer to cattle. The word bovine, B-O-V-I-N-E, refers to cattle. So those are the body parts of a cow or of a bovine. So, as I said, vocabulary is a big part of this class. When you get out in the industry, they're going to expect you to be able to speak the language. So when somebody refers to, if you're looking at cattle and they refer to the dewlap, you know where that is. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Or if they refer to the switch or the hooks or the pins, you know where that is. So, it is figure 7.1 in your book. And you guys will hate me for this, but I do it every year. You will need to know those parts and where, the names and where they are, because you will see that picture again on an exam and there will be blanks where there are words now and you will have to fill in the part.
Let me add, one of the things that folks miss more than anything else, because they just forget, they don't look at that, they don't study it. And it's not common terminology.
That's right. So, for those of you who grew up with cattle, this is going to be second nature because you've heard this all your life. If you grew up with cattle or sheep or horses, you will know most of these terms. And you will know where they are found on an animal. It's like speaking English. You learned it from day one. Father and daddy and grandpa and mom and farm, hearing them talk cattle. But for those of you that have not, this is a foreign concept, foreign terms. And if you're in the industry, you need to be able to speak the language. You need to know what people are talking about when they're looking at cattle and start describing cattle. So I will guarantee you, on your second exam, you will see this picture again with arrows pointing to different parts of that animal, and you will have to fill in the blank. And I can get a lot of test questions and points from that one thing. And like John said, a lot of people miss those. So I just want to bring that out from the very get-go and make you aware of it.
And let me add, most of the time, that's probably got 30 different blanks on it. Generally, what he'll show you or ask for is about 10. But some of those are pretty close together. So you need to be able to differentiate the knee from a shank, you know, the hoof from a dew claw.
And I don't try to trick you up on purpose, guys. This is the way the picture is.
Generally, it's that picture.
Yes, it is that picture. I will tell you that. One of my previous students, she was there in John's class, was able to manipulate stuff on the computer really well. And so she did that for me. She copied that picture and then deleted all the names and left the arrows. How she did that, I don't know.
We can't hear you.
Oh, one of John's previous students copied that picture, scanned it in the computer, and somehow manipulated stuff around and deleted all those names but left the arrows and put in blanks beside those arrows and sent it back to me. And so that's the one I use. So make sure you know that. Any questions regarding that? South Side, South Boston, Keysville. I can see John's class on the screen, but I can't see you guys, so I don't know if you have the deer in the headlight look face on, or oh my gosh face on, or I'm bored to tears face on. I have a mixture of that in John's class. Some people are freaking out, some people are bored to tears, and some are like, oh, this is everyday stuff. Come on, let's move on. So, y'all okay with that? Y'all freaking out on me?
I think we'll be all right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so chapter 7 talks about cattle. And as I told you, the word bovine, B-O-V-I-N-E, is the scientific, one of the scientific name, in that genus or whatever it is. When we think of bovine, we hear the word bovine, we think of cattle. And that can encompass dairy cows, beef cows, either one. And with cattle, that's the most important livestock species in terms of both the value and the weight of their products, meat and milk and other products. So it's the most important livestock species in terms of both the value and the weight, because cattle are big animals, right? You have a question? What about them? That may be considered an offal. John, would that be considered an offal? O-F-F-A-L? The tongue? Or is offals just the intestines, the heart and lungs?
I don't know how that's categorized, Dwayne.
I don't either. It is good. Y'all eaten cattle tongue before? I mean, most of us have eaten steak and hamburger, right? What's the weirdest cut of meat from cattle you've ever eaten? I'm not saying it wasn't good. I'm just saying what's, typically we think of beef, of hamburger and steaks. How many of y'all have eaten tongue before?
I have. I do.
Did you like it?
All the time. Yeah, we eat it all the time.
Yeah,
We
it's
used to
good, and it's very tender.
intestines and everything.
It's very tender.
Yeah. We actually have a cast iron dish that we put out over top of the fire and cook the intestines and everything on outside.
All right, so you have eaten the intestines as well.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like those?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else eaten tongue or intestines? You've had oxtail? Yep.
I like calf's liver.
Okay, the liver. Fried liver and onions. Bacon. I don't know. That's probably, unless you go to a ethnic food store, I don't know.
What was that, Dwayne?
He asked where he could buy cow tongue at, and I told him the packing house or maybe an ethnic grocery store.
Some Kroger stores will have it.
Really?
I've seen Kroger food.
How do you cook it?
We fry.
All right, did you hear him? He said you boil it to get the outer layers off of it, the skin off of it, and then you bake it.
So does it taste like roast beef?
I don't know how to describe the taste, Keith. It's very tender. I will tell you that. It's very soft. And to me, that's what was so surprising about it, with as much work as that muscle gets. I figured it would be really tough, but it wasn't. It was very, very tender. Whether it was the way they cooked it or what, I couldn't tell you. But it was very tender.
What is the price of it?
I don't know. I've never bought it. I've eaten it before, but I've never bought it. So I can't answer that question. You sell them for $3 each? All right, Joseph here used to run a slaughterhouse, and they sold the tongue at $3 each. Whether that was market price or not, he didn't know. That was the price he could move them. All right. So, how many of y'all have eaten intestines other than the one lady there? You've eaten chitlins? Okay, we think of chitlins coming from hog. All right. So we've had tail, tongue, intestines, liver, heart. Have anybody eaten beef heart before? But you've eaten deer heart. Okay. Anybody else eaten heart? A lot of, and we're naming some cuts of meat that people don't typically eat, or we think of. You get out of this country and people eat different cuts. I've eaten kidney, pancreas, liver. I've eaten the rumen. I've eaten intestines. I've eaten the hooves. I've eaten oxtail soup, or the tail. I've had this dish they called cabeza, where they took the cow's head and put it in a big old pot, boiled it up with some vegetables. I don't know. It wasn't very good.
What was it a few years ago with?
Is the cheek, when they make it in the barbecue. It's like a homemade barbecue. They take the cheek of the cow. It's really, really tender.
What was it a few years ago with the slaughtering technique about the brain? If they accidentally got the brain with the red meat, it caused some type of disease.
Right. Okay, you couldn't hear Joseph speak, right?
No.
All right. Let me give you some background, Keith, to try to answer that question, and I'll let Joseph expound on it. There is a prion. It's not really a virus, but it's a virus-like type thing that they have this problem in Europe. They call it mad cow disease. The official name is bovine spongiform encephalitis, and it affects the spinal column and the brain. And we see it in older cows, or Europe sees it a lot in older cows, and they can't really walk. Their brain swells, and they have all these neurological problems. And there's they think, and there may be some. I think there may be some scientific evidence on here that there's a variant of that prion that if you eat or people eat that infected matter, the spinal column or the brain of infected cattle, that it can cause a similar disease in people called Crutchfield-Jacobs disease. And it's a lethal disease. You will die from it. The United States has been very vigilant in preventing this disease from coming into our borders. We have had a few cases of that disease show up. However, those cows that had it were imported from Canada. And it was single instances. It did not get into our beef supply. They found it, I think, up there on the farm. And the situation was quelled pretty quickly. And it did hurt our imports. Now, the law is that any animal over 30 months of age that is slaughtered, all the SRM suspected, what's the R stand for? It's the suspected material, the spinal cord, the brain, all that has to be removed from the animal of anything over 30 months of age to prevent that contamination should that animal have BSE. So, certain cuts of meat, like a T-bone steak, contains part of the spine. That's where the teeth comes from. So, in older cattle, or cattle older than 30 months of age, they are unable by law to cut T-bone steak. Okay, you can take New York strips and fillets, but not T-bone. The porterhouse is out too, isn't it? The porterhouse contains a spine. Yeah, you can't get a porterhouse. Does that answer your question, Keith?
Yeah, I just remember about it, and I couldn't recall the details. Thank you.
Yeah, when the first cow, I'm thinking it was back in the mid-90s, showed up in the United States, I remember Oprah Winfrey was just throwing a big fit on her program about it. It really hurt cattle exports and the cattle market for a while, and it really hurt consumer confidence. The USDA did a tremendous job of tracking where that animal came from, and track down the source and everything. But I think it turned out to be a dairy cow that was imported from Canada. And I think, John, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but there's only been about 3 or 4 cases total in the United States, right? And they've all came down cattle imported from Canada. And
Very few. I don't know that there's been that many. No more than that.
Yeah, been no more than a handful. I'm not for sure when it was discovered.
No, is that the same disease that the deer population had a couple years ago, or is that something entirely separate?
Different.
They call it wasting disease.
That's a different one.
It's a different one, but isn't that still caused by prion, John?
I think it is, but it's a different disorder. And I'm not sure that, there's been some scare tactics that might infect the beef population, but I don't think that it does. That's what I remember. Dwayne's your animal guy. He'll know more about that than I do.
I'm like John. There is that fear that the chronic wasting disease in deer may cross over the livestock, like cattle and sheep. But at this point, it hasn't happened. Yeah, elk carry it. Mainly the diseases that will carry over are going to be the reproductive disease like leptospirosis. Can be transferred from wildlife to domestic animals.
Can you speak louder? You faded on us. What did you just say? And what is that disease?
Keith, you won't believe me, but my mouth is right in this mic.
I guess my batteries are going low on my hearing aid.
Leptospirosis, they call it lepto in cattle. It's a reproductive disease. It'll cause abortions. That can be transferred from wildlife, as well as brucellosis or tuberculosis can be too, right? Tuberculosis can be transferred from wildlife to cattle. There are some, mainly right now it's mainly reproductive diseases that can be transferred from wildlife to livestock. But we are out of time, guys. I'll let you go. Study for your exam, and we'll have this exam on Thursday. If you have a panic attack and need to call me, don't be afraid to do so.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your questions and participation.
Yeah. Any of you, sometimes we will have a lab on Friday.
Hey, you want to see something cool?
What do you
Or not have water fountains?
do? Don't think so.
Okay, yeah, I didn't see it. Email it. It's a bear.
Oh yeah, okay. I was looking at your head. Where'd you get that?
Cornfield. Look at its heart. Ain't that cool?
Did you shoot it?
I helped.
You helped shoot it?
I helped drag it out too.
I'll bet.
Yeah.
Big one?
There, let me your autograph.
Oh, wow. Get me before I need to leave.
I sure do.
Yep.
I was gonna get a paper towel like that.
Why don't we just get them Thursday? Let's just do it then. Get it for the week.
I guess I can fit on there.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter because I don't have to turn information.
Well, that's what I meant.
You want me to put this right now? I was about to just found by Thursday.
I just don't connect with him like other people. I told you just gonna leave it in here and I I don't. Just leave it in here and just bring a paper towel back so I can wipe it off. Well, Mom is why? She said that she had to go. She gave me the cord.
How long has she been out there?
I don't know. She said that she was going to send me a text, but that's the reason why I was looking at my phone. Yeah.
Easy. Go put some tape in here. Why don't you get behind the chair?
Go to the